News for this Thursday. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night.
NBC News, streaming free now.
These kids hired to be famous.
Their social media manager made them do dangerous stunts. The tragedy is not his fault.
He coerced teenagers to make a fast buck.
Huge auction, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. ATVs, boat, like new Chevy Malibu, home contents, Northwoods decor, guns, tools, and more. Contact Brass and St. Louis Auctions for more details.
Take it away, boys.
Discover what's trending in the North Woods on Up North at 4 with Nate Myhawk and Jeff Weller. Local conversations about what it means to live, work, and play up north. Weekdays at 4. Noon News Now with Kevin Kraft and Jeff Weller. Weekdays on Newswatch 12.
Tribute Brewing, Airport Road to Bluebird Road, Eagle River.
Straight ahead, Congress is still debating raising the debt ceiling. We'll hear from some Wisconsin politicians. Plus, Wisconsin DHS is asking the public what to do with their opioid settlement funds. We'll explain how you can leave your thoughts. And donations at the Crandon Public Library are coming with a special dedication. We'll have the details as your local news starts right now.
Newswatch 12 with Jessica Jukic and Conrad Sapinski.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch 12 at 6. I'm Jessica Jukic. The U.S. hit its debt ceiling this month. Raising the debt ceiling usually happens without much fanfare. But right now, House Republicans are demanding spending cuts, and President Biden says he's not willing to negotiate. Newswatch 12's Dan Hagan has more on the ceiling standoff.
The United States has never intentionally defaulted on its debt, a track record that is the bedrock of the country's economic stability. Last week, the Treasury Department freed up money to pay off bills in the short term, but this will only last until the summer. I talked to Representative Tom Tiffany and Senator Tammy Baldwin about what each side wants.
We want to get control of spending.
Representative Tom Tiffany has spent a lot of time thinking about government budgets. He was part of the effort to balance the Wisconsin state budget during the 2010s.
We need to do the same thing in Washington, D.C., and it's really important that we start it now.
Tiffany said if the federal government budget is balanced, the U.S. economy will be in better shape.
We need to get control of this because one of the outgrowths of this spending is that we've gotten inflation.
Most economists agree that government spending is not the main driver of inflation. A study by the St. Louis Federal Reserve found that it has little to no impact, while some Federal Reserve Board members say stimulus money during the pandemic increased inflation by 2.5 percentage points. Representative Tiffany says cutting Medicare and Social Security is off the table. He wants to look at discretionary spending.
Just ending the pandemic as an official response by the federal government would reduce a lot of spending also. It's in the hundreds of billions of dollars.
In 2011, House Republicans and President Obama were in a debt ceiling standoff that dented the economy and led to a downgrade of America's credit rating.
I understand that there's a lot of hyperbole out there, and people want to say that we're going to see default and it could be a terrible thing for the United States of America. It doesn't have to be that way. Let's negotiate this, and I think we can get to a good place.
Senator Tammy Baldwin agrees with the Biden administration that negotiating over the debt ceiling is just too risky.
I'm calling on, and everyone must call on Speaker McCarthy and the House Republican majority to act. It's been 6 days already, and we know that every day
It was a beautiful sunny day. I love seeing the sun out there, Conrad. What's in store for us tonight?
Yeah, today was an absolutely beautiful day. We did have a couple of snow showers in the morning, but look what happened later on. I was driving around. I had to put on my shades on. That's how nice and sunny it was. But yeah, we haven't seen a day like that in a while. Taking a look outside right now, pretty clear out there at the moment. Mostly clear skies. We will have some more increase in cloud cover tonight. You guessed it, because we have more snow on the way. We do have around 16 inches of snow on the ground here in town, around 10 inches in Wausau. But look at Milwaukee, though, closer to Chicago, close to a trace to 0. Of course, they had a lot warmer temperatures and not much snow down there. Temperatures, though, are starting to really cool off right now. We had highs in the lower 20s earlier today, but now look at these lows. We are starting to really cool down. We're in the single digits, a couple of lower teens in the area. Wausau still holding on to the 20s. Same thing by Stevens Point. But look at all this cold air. Single digits that are just knocking on our door. But take a look up north, though. Canada still is the big winner with all that cold Arctic air. We will get a hint of that in the next several days. Starting tomorrow night into Saturday, we're going to get in on some colder air. Tonight, though, we're going to continue to cool off. More near average, but still a little bit above that in those mid to upper single digits. Jessica?
Thank you, Conrad. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services is seeking public input on what to do with the next round of funding from the opioid settlement. This year, Wisconsin will receive $8 million from the 2021 settlement with 3 major pharmaceutical companies. The DHS will have a public survey up for people to recommend what programs the state should support. The funding can go towards new or existing projects to combat the opioid epidemic. The survey will help DHS put together a plan for the Joint Committee on Finance. The survey is available now through February 17th and can be found on our website, wjfw.com. A Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate is under fire after it surfaced her son may have sold fentanyl while at college. Cade Reddington was an 18-year-old UW-Milwaukee freshman when he died of a fentanyl poisoning on November 4th, 2021. 2 of Reddington's friends told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that he was frequently buying prescription pills from Michael Doe, the 19-year-old son of the Supreme Court candidate Jennifer Doe. The concern is that Cade might have purchased a counterfeit pill laced with a deadly dose of fentanyl. Michael Doe has not been charged with any crime in that case. He could not be reached for comment. The Wisconsin DNR has confirmed the first case of chronic wasting disease in Waupaca County. The DNR says a hunter harvested the 2-year-old wild doe, which tested positive for CWD in the town of Harrison. The deer was found within 10 miles of Shawano, Marathon, and Portage County borders. The DNR has enacted a 3-year baiting and feeding ban in Waupaca County, along with the 2-year ban in adjoining counties. The ban is in place to avoid deer congregating around a food source where infected deer can spread CWD. Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez made her first stop of her term to Rhinelander today, meeting with child care workers at the First Steps Early Learning Center. While there, Rodriguez spoke to reporters on abortion access in the state. She indicated that while Republicans are willing to make exceptions for rape and incest, that there's no room to negotiate with Democrats.
And what Governor Evers has said, and I agree with, is that we need to get back to the law that we had before Roe versus Wade was overturned. That is the safest way we can protect women within Wisconsin.
Rodriguez also reaffirmed what the governor pledged during his State of the State address on Tuesday, where he proposed a $340 million investment into the Child Care Counts payment program. Wausau's Habitat for Humanity is looking for their next 2 partner families. Applications for the Habitat for Humanity of Wausau home ownership program will be accepted February 1st through March 24th. Those looking to apply need to be currently living in inadequate housing and willing to partner with Habitat for Humanity in the construction of a new home. Eligible income limits are between $30,000 and a little over $60,000, depending on family size. Those interested are encouraged to attend an informational meeting to learn more about the application process. You can go to habitatwausau.org to learn more. In an age of Kindles and iPads, it can be hard for libraries to fund the purchase of new books. A local library has come up with a simple way for the public to help. Newswatch 12's Nick Van Zyl joins us with more. Nick?
Thanks, Jessica. The Crandon Public Library wants to keep people turning actual pages instead of just clicking next. Their Spread the Love campaign, and it's a way people can make a donation that will help the library for years to come. Spread the Love is a campaign where a $25 donation is turned into a new book on the Crandon Public Library shelves. Lori Rennell Felitis, director for the library, says the campaign is running now through April 30th.
We're just trying to up the book budget a little bit, and this is a good way to do it.
Library staff and board members suggested ways to raise funds for new books, but they eventually chose Dawn Schmidt's idea for the campaign.
I thought, well, spread the love, that kind of seems like a good idea. You know, you could buy a book in memory or in honor of a child or a loved one or, you know, whatever you wanted to do.
A $25 donation lets the library purchase a book and library staff create a book plate to commemorate the donation. Donors can choose a book or ask library staff for a recommendation.
They can do it in honor of a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. They could do a pet.
The book plate is typically placed on the inside cover of the book where readers will see.
They could go to the library anytime and check this book out, or they could tell their friends, hey, I have a book at the library that's, you know, in my honor. If you look in the front, my name is there.
Once in circulation, people only need their free library card to check out the new book.
We want you to come in and spread the love.
The fundraiser will have a lasting effect as each book is put into circulation and counts toward the library's circulation numbers, which impact the overall budget.
Thank you, Nick. Families fight often, but not usually for competition. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you about the Petersons and why they'll be grappling in Greece. After Weather with Conrad.
This portion of News Watch 12 is brought to you by Furniture and Appliance Mart.
As a nurse, your capacity to give is superhuman until it's not. These days, nearly every nurse is exhausted. You deserve an employer who shares your passion for keeping people healthy, including you. Join Peter Christensen Health Center today. Work fewer hours, enjoy regular schedules, rebalance your life with your passion. Your loved ones will thank you. Your new healthcare team will appreciate you. And your new patients will be grateful for you. Quit the chaos. Be your best self. Join us today.
Lead the way, boss.
No one gets away with trying to kill my son.
Are you threatening me?
I'm ready to go to war. It's blood for blood.
Why'd you call me?
Now get an Escape, Edge, or Explorer SUV with 0% APR financing for 36 months, only at your Wisconsin and UP Ford dealers.
You've decided to go back to school. Good for you. Which would you rather do? Get up early, get dressed, drive to college, find a parking spot, walk across campus, only to sit in a giant lecture hall, or earn your degree from home with Independence University. We'll even provide you with a new laptop and tablet to keep when you graduate, and a personal student success team. Independence University. Online, but never alone.
Call 1-800-397-2159. 1-800-397-2159.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday. Once again, we had some snow showers early this morning, but look what happened later in the day. Looked absolutely beautiful. Lots of sunshine. We even had a beautiful sunset later today, so it looked amazing out there. Temperatures, though, not so much. It is pretty chilly out there. Right now, though, same story. We do have some mostly clear skies, but we will have some increase in cloud cover tonight as another low starts to move in. This one's going to be a quick hitter, but let's take a look at how much snow we have this season to date. So far this season, this winter season, just shy of 50 inches of snow. This time last year, we were just around 4.3 inches higher than what we are right now. So we are not that far behind. We're actually above average for snow for this year. But look at 2019, 2020, 66.4 inches of snow. So they had a lot more snow that year. We actually almost broke top 5 record. We do have a little bit more snow on the way, though. Right now it is in North Dakota. It is starting to hit the border of Minnesota. That little layer right there of snow, it's going to be a quick hitter. So it is going to be moving in from around 5 a.m. till around 10, 11 a.m., maybe around noontime. It's going to start to move out of the area. So it's going to be maybe a 6-7 hour event, a quick hitting snow event at that. We're looking at maybe possibly 1 to 3 inches in the area for the most part. But now take a look down south. Closer to Chicago, though, Milwaukee, Madison area, they're going to get a pretty strong low-pressure system moving in Friday night into Saturday. For us, though, we're going to be clear. This is going to be well south of us and well south of the Rapids. So if you're close to Madison or south that, expect a couple inches of snow on Saturday. For us, though, tonight into tomorrow, we're going to get an inch, maybe 2 inches at that, maybe 3 inches in some localized spots, but overall 1 to 3 inches. If you like roller coasters, folks, I know I do. Hop on and get ready. Tomorrow's going to be another nice and warm day. Temperatures slightly above average, but look what happens by Saturday. The weekend begins. You want to enjoy the weekend, go out, but be careful and bundle up, as high temperatures will only be around 11 degrees on Saturday, and then it gets even colder than that. We start to really climb that ladder down from the temperatures. It's going to get very, very cold. These are high temperatures, folks. We're looking at 11 degrees on Saturday. Look at Sunday, though, 7 degrees. Even colder on Monday to start off our work week. Wow, bad timing with that. And then pretty much we'll be in the single digits the rest of the week. And these are high temperatures, so lows are going to be much colder than that. We're looking at a couple nights reaching 15, maybe 20 degrees below zero, with wind chills way colder than that. So what are we looking at with wind chills? So here's a graphic Sunday morning into Monday morning. We're looking at 20, possibly even 30 below zero for that feels like temperature, that temperature we feel on our skin in some spots. So really bundle up, get ready, get your kids ready for school and anything they have to do outside, because it is going to be brutally cold. Tonight, though, that's the beginning of the colder air moving in. Temperatures around 6 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, some more increase in cloud cover overnight. Some snow showers will be moving in pretty much by that morning commute, and then continuing to fall on Friday, as our 7-day outlook brought to you by Northwoods Furniture and Mattress does show that snow on Friday. But look what happens the rest of the week. We are dry and cold, so we're going to see lots of cold temperatures and lots of dry air into next week. Jessica?
Thank you, Conrad. Next month, 37 Americans will compete in the 9th annual Pankration World Championships. It's a Greek martial art that translates to all powers. 47 countries will be in attendance, and the event is being held in the birthplace of the sport. 2 sisters from Watersmeet, Michigan will be joining the team. Head coach Dave Sixel of Eagle River is training the girls for the competition.
It's really an honor, to be a part of our community, our small community. And like I said, I think that's where we come out with the element of surprise, with people, because we definitely can compete on a world level.
As for final days of preparation, Coach Sixel says they're well on their way to championship level performance. His main focus is to not overtrain.
We don't want to change too much right now. We just want to add to what we have. We want to smooth everything out, sharpen up our techniques.
Sixel added this is also the time to focus on their mental preparation for the event. He's made it clear to the girls that they're ready, and the group will arrive on February the 16th, with events starting the next day. It isn't easy getting old, but you wouldn't guess that based on one Madison resident. We'll tell you how she's staying young at 100 years old.
Menards is your bathroom headquarters. Delta bathtubs and showers are built for style, design, and durability. Whether you prefer a traditional style or something modern, Delta is the way to go. Get this Delta High Crop shower for just $549.99. Add warmth and beauty to your home with carpet from Shaw. Huntington carpet is soft and luxurious. Get yours today for just 79 cents per square foot. Plus, receive free carpet pad with a purchase of woven back carpet at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Here is your Newswatch 12 Ski and Board Report, brought to you by Ski Brule.
This is a special report for people who want the facts about reverse mortgages without the hype. You've seen a lot of commercials telling you how you can turn the equity in your home into tax-free cash. But do you really know if a reverse mortgage loan can help you? Call today. For a limited time only, we'll send you a free special report, Reverse Mortgages, Facts Without the Hype. Did you know that not everyone over 62 can qualify? And you can choose to receive your money monthly or in a lump sum. Call us today and get all the facts you need. You'll speak with an experienced reverse mortgage advisor who will give you honest answers to your questions and even provide a free personalized assessment. This is a big decision. Get the facts with this free special report. Reverse Mortgages, facts without the hype. There's no obligation, and the call is free. So don't delay.
Call 1-800-737-5145. That's 1-800-737-5145.
At a time when misinformation is all too common on social media, we take great pride in bringing you the news that matters, that impacts your family, news you can trust. Local broadcast journalists bring you the facts, covering the stories breaking in our community and across the globe. Text TV to 528. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome back. A racing event is taking place in Wausau this weekend. The USSA Pro Star Series is hosting the inaugural Sprint World Cup at the Wausau 525 racetrack. The money raised will be helping several local charities, including Project Search Wausau, the Wanzerski Foundation, and Women's Community. Races begin tomorrow and run through Sunday. Tomorrow's admission is non-perishable food and personal care items for Neighbors Place. Many of us start to slow down as we age, but a 100-year-old Madison, Wisconsin resident seems to be gaining momentum. After living in 6 countries and raising 3 children, Clarice Wurtzel says she's never been one to stay idle. Grace Olch has more.
Well, I've never sat.
100-year-old Clarice Wurtzel has lived in 6 countries, raised 3 daughters, and doesn't plan to slow down anytime soon.
If you ask me what inspires me most, it's all my activities. It's no one special thing.
When she first moved to Capitol Lake's retirement home nearly 20 years ago with her husband, Wurtzel got involved right away.
When I first moved here, of course, I was healthy enough, so I got involved in all kinds of things like the Welcome Committee, which I enjoyed thoroughly.
Her sight is limited now, so she's no longer on the welcoming committee, but Wurtzel is committed to her health.
I do my own laundry. I prepare a lot of my own food. The physical therapy department gave me some exercises, which I do faithfully twice a day.
And being part of the Capitol Lakes community.
I think you have to interact with people in order to maintain your health and be a part of the community. I think that's the only advice I can give. Don't stay cooped up.
While staying active has been a major secret to Wurtzel's success, what lights her up the most is being able to spend time with her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren.
It makes me so happy to see them and watch the children grow. How many people can say that they can watch their great-grandchildren grow from little ones?
Wurtzel sees family twice a week and considers their time together one of her greatest blessings.
I guess it means that I'm never unhappy.
If you're a contractor or do-it-yourselfer, make Argonne Lumber your first stop. High-quality materials, personalized service, expert staff, and delivery are just some of the things Argonne Lumber is known for. Stop in and smell the lumber at Argonne Lumber, 2 locations in Argonne and Rhinelander.
Lance Truck, we got the trucks that Lance Truck.
Nobody has more used trucks all on one lot, all priced to move. So when you're ready to buy your next truck, know that all Lenz trucks are fully inspected, certified clean, and can be bought hassle-free online. Go now to lenztruck.com. You'll find over 800 used trucks, all priced to move.
We got the trucks that Lance Truck.
Real Estate Auction, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Beautiful 3-bedroom home with attached garage, finished basement, blacktop drive, wraparound, composite deck, greenhouse, pole building, and more. Contact Brass and St. Louis Auctions for more details.
Stay on top of breaking news and the biggest stories of the day with NBC News Daily. Get in-depth reporting from across the country and around the world. Tips to take care of your health and your wallet. And up-to-the-minute local news. NBC News Daily. Weekdays on NBC.
You're watching NBC 12 from where you live.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure. It's wireless. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? It's Buick Envision. That's a really tight spot. I used to hate parallel parking. Me too.
The Buick Envision, built around you, all of you.
Get 3.9% APR and no monthly payments for 90 days on Buick SUV models. Visit your North Central Wisconsin Buick dealer.
Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let VCI Bath and Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality.
Remodeling our bathroom was a big decision for us.
They didn't make a mess out of our house at all. And at the end of the day, we had a beautiful new bathroom.
For a limited time, be one of the first 100 callers who schedule a free in-home consultation and receive $500 off. Factory-trained and certified installers made in the USA and discounts for seniors and military.
New set, new look, Newswatch 12. Our team works around the clock to bring you the news that matters most of all to the North Woods. We are committed to the community and ensuring that you are as informed as possible. NBC Newswatch 12. News from where you live.
All right, Jessica, so I know you're from Ohio. I know you guys get a little bit of snow, not as much as here. Have you built your first snowman here yet?
I have not. I have to get on that.
Yeah,
we have a lot of snow.
We do have a lot of snow. Yeah, around 1.5 feet of snow out there. It's not as wet to make a snowman yet, but there is more on the way, though. Taking a look outside right now, cloudy skies, well, more cloudy skies will be moving in. Right now, though, we do have some mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. We will have some increase in cloud cover very, very shortly because more snow is on the way. And that is pretty much at that border of Minnesota right now. We're looking at maybe 1, 2, 3 inches at most all across the state. Everybody's going to get blessed with a little bit more snow into the morning hours tomorrow. Our 7-day outlook does show lots of dry air starting Saturday, but look how cold it's going to get. Jessica, hopefully you are ready for the cold. It's going to get brutally cold out there.
I'm definitely ready. I'm looking forward to having a little more snow. That'll be nice.
Exactly.
Thank you, Conrad. We'll see you back here at 10.
Mr. Food Test Kitchen is brought to you by Golden Carrot Jewelers.
It's really super moist, isn't it?
Yeah.